Good evening and welcome to a very special night with the Black Crowes. Stay with us for the next 90 minutes as we bring you the world premiere broadcast of the Black Crowes' new album, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. From Southern Track Studio in Atlanta, Georgia, I'm Willard. When the Black Crowes came on the scene in February of 1990 with the release of Shake Your Moneymaker, it was obvious that the music world had heard a new band that would have a lasting impact over a new decade. With over 4 million records sold, 5 top 5 tracks, 3 of which went to number 1, on the top 100 for over 2 years now, and a sold-out tour that took them all around the world, the Black Crowes have made their mark. The Black Crowes' lead vocalist, Chris Robinson, will be taking you through their second release, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. And then the band will give us a live sample of the musical magic that's made the legacy of the Black Crowes. Before we get started, let's give you a taste of some of the incredible musical moments from the Black Crowes' first multi-platinum album, Shake Your Moneymaker. I'm Willard from 96 Rock here in Atlanta, the hometown radio station of the Black Crowes. And now, let's talk to the controversial lead singer of the Black Crowes, Chris Robinson.
Well, the record was recorded in Atlanta, Georgia, at a studio with lots of knobs, dials, speakers, instruments, rolling papers, all the things you need in a studio. And we did it in about 8 days or so. All of it was live, all the band tracks. And then I sang, some of the tracks are live, I sang some over and stuff. But basically we just went in and did it pretty quickly.
Do you think that's kind of a different recording style than most bands are using nowadays?
Yeah, it's pretty unorthodox, I think. And especially the way the record sounds, which we use, analog gear, and so you still get things like tape hiss and sounds that are real, as musicians play them. Manipulating their instruments, it's a pretty novel concept that we've happened to come across, but it works. So it was really quite a whirlwind experience.
Let's talk about a track on the album. Let's talk about Sting Me.
Yeah, Sting Me is... There's a line that says, if you feel like a riot, don't you deny it. That's to me saying, if you want to go to the show and you want to smoke a joint and you want to hang out and jump up and down with your friends and have a good time, and a little security guard tells you to, you're not going to do, you're going to sit down. There's thousands of people in that hall, you do what you want when you're there. You paid money to go see it, The policemen do what they want. They go home and get drunk and smack their wives, or they take the drugs out of your car and go home and roll up a joint and have a big smoke and a laugh at your expense, So I think if anything, there's a lot of people of a generation who, when a good time maybe is in front of them, that you need to grasp it and take it, because there's a lot of people who don't want you to have a good time.
We're back with lead singer Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes.
Tell us about the title of the album and any meaning behind it.
The title of the record is The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. And I'm sure there's a meaning. I don't know what it is. I mean, I think it has something to do with that I don't think people have ever grasped the real sort of vibe that we have about being Southern, which was never to do really with Southern rock music. It was more of just a feeling. So I think that title represents it. I stole it from a hymn book. So I'm sure there's something wrapped up in the gospel about it.
Chris, tell me how many songs are on the album.
I think there's 10 songs on the album, 9 of which Rich and I wrote again, and we did one cover, a Bob Marley song called Time Will Tell. But we did it a little different than his arrangement, so yeah, again, it was me and Rich doing our thing.
There's a lot of talk out there that you and Rich have difficulty sitting in the same room together for any given period of time. So how do you write music together?
Well, that's a good question. Rich and I's relationship, I mean, it seems like we can pull it together about once, what's the expression? In the blue moon, I believe. No, this actually, I think Rich and I are probably better friends than we have been. But, still, there's a lot of, I guess for lack of a better word, tension you could call it. And violence results out of that sometimes. But I also think interesting emotional music comes out of it, And this time I think we're closer because Rich, I think, out of anyone, really has stepped outside of himself to open up and give his most sort of, emotional playing thus far.
I'm Willard. Welcome back to the world premiere broadcast of the new Black Crowes CD, The Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. In just a bit, we'll hear a live set from the Black Crowes in the studio.
Chris, I know that you felt very strongly about the first album. What are your feelings about this album? It must be pretty personal to you.
Yeah, I don't think I could use comparisons between this record and the first record because they're two totally different things. The first record were a bunch of kids, really, that put together some good songs and used to play them to no one, for a couple of years there. And then you get a record deal and go out and do it. Whereas this record, I think, comes from young men who really, if anything, have become more militant and less complacent even with the success of the first record. So, I think that really is just whitewashed all over this album. It's more aggressive, and yet in the same sort of strange stance, it's more gentle, too. I don't know, it's very weird.
Well, the public responded pretty quickly to Shake Your Moneymaker. How do you think they'll respond to this record? Do you think they're going to get it right away?
I don't know, man. I don't care, if I was going to try to guess the public, I would be a politician, and then we'd all be up It's Creek, really. I don't know, if they dig it, they dig it. If they don't, maybe they'll dig the next one. I don't know, this band is such a day-to-day sort of existence anyway that, when it comes out and people hear it and people see it, and if they like it, they'll go buy it. If not, they might like the next one, who knows? We never really put any expectations that much on the first one. I don't think we should start now. Our expectations are we expect to continue to move as a band. I don't know if that's necessarily forward or sideways or backwards, just continually to be in a different place, frame of mind.
Now, I don't know if you want to discuss this, but I heard that one of the women that was singing background vocals during the recording of the album actually quit during the sessions because she thought that the band was under the influence of what?
Wow, I don't know. I'm sure we were under the influence of something, but it was something dizzy. No, she actually, I wasn't even aware of it till later. I thought it was pretty funny. She, from what I heard, didn't dig. We still always have had candles around, and they're Santeria candles, So she didn't dig those too much, and just the freaky people running around and, whatever else goes along with being freaks. And, she just didn't dig it. Lights everywhere. And I think some of the lyrics made her upset. But she was a sweet, sweet person, sang beautifully. But I just don't think she got the whole Black Crowes move into the studio for a couple weeks vibe.
All right, let's talk about one of the great songs on the record, Sometimes Salvation.
No, that's a nice one. Sometimes Salvation, I don't really even know what that is. I know it's pretty desperate, but it's I think that song is really just about methods to madness, like leave whatever works alone, It seems like sometimes in the music industry that people like to use, everyone uses everyone, so it's not really anything different, but it's sort of like if there's any other sort of artist, whether they be a painter, sculptor, or writer, whatever, their pursuit and their inner whatever you call it, when it's joy and extreme happiness, when it's depression and pain, the difference is there, and the different avenues in which to explore those. That's sort of let go, and that's what you do. But when you're a musician and people make millions of dollars off of you, there's a lot of people sitting around going, whoa, man, you better be cool, and look at these figures, and you need to be sober, and shalala. Well, no, I'm not here to make everyone a lot of money. I'm here to, write songs and hang with my band. So I think that's what that song is really about, not really changing your ways.
How does it make you feel that a number of women that have heard this song, hear this story, that women have heard this, have been seeming to come to tears at the end of it? Is that something you care about?
Well, they know how wrong they've been to all the men in their lives. Great. Helen Reddy. People who look like Helen Reddy will be lining up at my house after I say that with pitchforks.
Let's talk about you and the band being more in control on this release, as far as when the record was released, the track that was going to be released first. How do you handle all this while a lot of other bands don't seem to be as much involved? And do you feel that you always have to be so involved?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I've ever thought in terms of why do we do this and no one else does. I mean, I can guess at it, but I don't like it when people make generalizations about what we do. So usually I would like to stay away from doing that. I mean, so when I speak of them, I don't know if you can't say all the bands, but if anything, the Black Crowes, I don't think that we have ever lied to anyone for anything. That's the difference. And I don't think we really have let greed motivate us one bit. Success has been nothing but a chance to sort of have the time and wherewithal, and you're sort of instead of getting wrapped up into the other aspects of it, it's nice to know now, like, well, this is our band and we put it together and we're going to call the shots. And then also, you don't have to pass the buck, I'm not the kind of person that if my record doesn't get played or doesn't go _1, that I'm going to sit around and start yelling at record labels and get on stage and start saying, hey, well, my record company, blah, blah, blah. I think all record companies are equally obnoxious, So why would I waste my time speaking about how obnoxious mine is, I'd rather get up there and play our songs and have a good time, So it's different.
Another great song and another long song from the album is called Thorn in My Pride. Tell us about that one.
Thorn in My Pride, that song's really sort of about a dream to me. I remember writing it in some hotel room somewhere, like in one sitting, all of it finished right there, without even hearing the song that Rich came up with. But there was like, but he like sat down and wrote it at the same time in his room. It was very strange. But I think if anything, that's just a gospel song, No right or wrong, just a feeling, that there is right and there is wrong. You do good things, you do bad things, How are you going to deal with them at the end of the day?
We're at Southern Track Studio in Atlanta, and let's join the Black Crowes live for the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion world premiere.
But for my new exhibition, I have a little something called a pink salmon wrapped in a corn husk with a light peppercorn sauce garnished with spinach and carrots.
Okay, this is Black Moon Creepin'.
Say, come on,
Twice as hard, number 1.
I think this will be the only one we're needing.
Are we ready to roll out there? Hey, this is Hotel Elvis, number 1.
Chris, let's talk about the tour again. What's the name of it going to be?
High as the Moon Tour.
and why that name?
I love the moon.
When and where are you going to kick off the High as the Moon tour?
Well, you know, I've already started, and but I think the first show is in July, so I hope I catch up to it. But yeah, it's July 24th in Minneapolis, I believe, is the first really big shoe of the next thing. So and then we'll be out there, I'm sure, coming everywhere we can go. Even Denver, I think we got a special pardon. I have to wear a muzzle, of course, while I'm there. But
well, you said earlier that you like people to have a good time at your shows. What do you want them to do?
Well, I can say, you know, that the band is not discouraging any sort of behavior. I mean, I don't think anyone should show up there and want to be beating on anyone. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that, but you know, what I'm saying, you know, you want to, if you go to see a band that you dig, you want to come down and see the Black Crowes, and you're in a room with 3,000 other people want to see it, jump up and down, you know, take your clothes off and run around, whatever you want. I mean, we're all in there to listen and to hang, you know. And like I said, it's just so jaded sometimes, you know. Everyone's like, well, you know, there's nothing that's keeping you from having a great time.
Now, that's an interesting philosophy, because there seems to be a formula to most of the rock, I'll say, presentations.
Yeah, because, you know, what do they care, man? You know, you've been touring in arenas for whatever. You get up there every day. Why would you have to play? It doesn't sound that good, so we can play to tapes. How many T-shirts we sell? Cool. You know, what do you... That's why we're not going to go play arenas. This time we're going out and we're going straight into theaters. And that's why we change our set every night, and that's why we jam in every show. That's why we do extended jams. That's why it's going to be allowed for people to come bootleg, you know? It's all those things. It's going to be even the way the stage looks and the way the gig smells, you know, all of it.
What is the gig going to smell like this year, Chris?
I hope it's not Teen Spirit. I hope it smells like rock and roll there, you know? Hope it smells like illegal people.
One tape. This is Seeing Things. Here we go.
It hard to shed a tear. Oh, you know that you brought it on yourself, my dear. Oh, I'm wrong, yes, I very well may be, but don't you dare ever leave a light on for me. So leave me all alone. Yes, you know that it hurts me, baby. $100 that will not ease. My heart cannot believe. But baby, I saw it with my own two eyes. All the things that your lies cannot hide. And baby, these things come straight baby, you know I know that I've done my time. I did not know that loving you was even a crime. And you won't find me, oh baby, you won't find me down on my two knees. No, you won't. No, you won't ever, ever, ever find me down on the back of babe. Just trying to please your eye. I never got me to know, no. 'Cause I'm a seeing for the first time. You know I am seeing it, baby. I'm seeing it for the first time. I'm a seeing, I'm a witness in my eyes. Seeing it, baby, the first time. In my 25 years, I see it before. The first time. I just wanna let you know, sorry, baby, I ain't your dog, baby. Just one thing, I've seen it for the first time. For the first time, the last time in my life, baby, baby. Rooster crows at the break of dawn. Mother dies without her only son. A doctor laughs in my face, I just he's. I never once heard the preacher say please. You wanna be heard, yes you do now. But none of us understand a word. No, 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 no. You wanna be free, yes you do now. Don't speak like a slave to me. Policeman who can break the laws.
Let's tell you the songs you just heard from that live set. That was No Speak, No Slave from the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion. Then it was Seeing Things from Shake Your Moneymaker. Also from the new one, Hotel Illness. Twice as Hard from Shake Your Moneymaker. And it started off with Black Moon Creepin' from the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion.
When we return, more from Chris Robinson and the Black Crowes.
Chris, I got just a couple of more questions. How do you feel about, and you're probably not even aware of it, but if I were to tell you that Shake Your Moneymaker is still selling very substantially, and I'm not just talking in terms of numbers, but I'm talking in terms of fans that are still being turned on to it 2 years later, how do you feel about the fact that you're still selling a lot of records to a lot of new fans 2 years after the record came out?
Well, I mean, of course I'm flattered by it. I mean, all those people have like a piece of us in their house, you know? And that's a heavy thing. I mean, if anything, that just goes to show you, well, how come some other bands haven't come along and put out 10 songs that do that? And 10 songs that people want to go out and buy them for something other than hype. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if anything, the Black Crowes came out of everyone said nowhere. Well, that's because we refused what hype? And, you know, in the industry's mindset is such that no hype means what? Boring? Not interesting? No. Where we come from, no hype means we let what the band does speak for itself. Now, as the individuals who make up the music, you know, you can sit me down, talk to me, talk to Rich, talk to, you know, Steve, Johnny, whatever, Mark. Everyone will give you a different answer, you know. So, of course, people always want to, you know, hear all the different answers.
Now, our last question for tonight. You've caught a lot of flack for being very controversial and very outspoken. Tell us how you feel about that.
No comment. No, I never was outspoken or controversial. I told the truth, you know. When someone asked me about the tours I was on, I would say, well, you know, you're sitting around telling me how great they are, and I'm going to tell you something. You want to know how it really is? They lip sync. How's that? Now, I didn't do that to be malicious. I didn't do that to prove a point. I didn't do that to say we're better or worse. I did it to tell you the truth. Things I've said about these heavy metal bands, you think I really sit around and like give it two thoughts? You know, I mean, it's a joke. I don't take them seriously. I don't own their records. You think, you know, please. I don't care that much. You know? I mean, I am an arrogant person, and that arrogance is the thing that lets me make decisions and lets me get on stage. It's not that I sit around and want to compete with every, you know, tattooed, headband wearing, leather jacket, well, whatever. I don't really care. We're a rock and roll band, and there's bands that I like and there's bands that I don't buy their records, but I don't sit around and get angry like, come on, let's fight because you said this. Please, man. If you want to fight me because I said something about some band, then you know what? Get away from the TV set for 12 seconds. And that doesn't mean going to the refrigerator to pop open another, 40-ounce Miller. Oh, he said it. He said it on the radio. Miller beer.
I'm Willard, and for the last 90 minutes, you've been listening to the world premiere broadcast of the Southern Harmony and Musical Companion from the Black Crowes. Special thanks tonight to the Black Crowes, Pete Angelus of Angelus Entertainment, Mark Didia of Deaf American Recordings, Tommy Nast, Lex Staley, Donna Geisinger and Neil Bird of the Album Network, and Steve Saslow of SJS. Special thanks to Michael Hughes and WKLS 96 Rock in Atlanta. Post-production by Lex Staley and Steve Nelson of Nell Sound Productions. Special thanks to the Black Crowes staff, Jeffrey Gorman, Shipper, Paul Bloom, John Deptford, and Pat and Barbara Mitchell. The Black Crowes World Premiere Special was a presentation of the Album Network and Bullet Productions. Producers for the broadcast are Tommy Nast, Pete Angelus, and Mark Didia. Engineered by Brendan O'Brien. Executive producers are Stephen R. Smith and Gary Bird. I'm Willard. Thanks for joining us tonight, and don't miss the Black Crowes on tour in early July.